Warning: the following video contains mature content. Viewer discretion is advised. And then he was like, "Other Matt, I think you have a drinking problem." And I was like, "That's great, Giuseppe. You're talking to the dog." What? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention because, well, I don't care. Never mind. So, what's next in line for a new review? We gonna do another Rayman? No, I need a break from Rayman. I don't want to be salty when Ukulele comes out. Well, knowing you, this review won't even be out by that time, so... I swear to God, if you weren't me, I'd punch you straight in the balls. Whoa. Easy now. I'm the evil one here, remember? You keep saying that, but what evil things have you actually done? Well, being an alcoholic pill popper doesn't count. Whatever you do, don't go in the basement, okay? We don't have a basement. Good. Ignorance is bliss. I like the way you think. You know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna pretend this conversation never happened. But anyway, I'm thinking I want to do a Pokemon game. And I guess we're gonna do every game in the series, right? No, I think this will just be a one-off. I only really want to do Generation 3. It's my favorite in the series, after all. So, the Matt Cave is pretty much gonna be the Let's Talk About Matt's Favorite Game show? Huh. Never thought of it that way. Alright, fair point. More blind reviews. You can sit this one out if you want to. I really want to do this myself. That is fine by me. I'm gonna go drink until Raving Rabbit seems like a good sequel to Rayman 3. Ha! Let me know how that go- Huh. Hey YouTube, how the hell are you? Welcome back to the Matt Cave. Today we're going to be looking at Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire for the Game Boy Advance. For this review, we'll be taking a look at Sapphire specifically. I'm going to assume you know the basics of the Pokemon series while talking about these games. I'd love to give you a crash course in Pokemon history from start to finish, but if I did that, we'd be here a very long time. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire were released on March 19th, 2003 here in North America. This was before the Pokemon games were released worldwide on one set date. I was 8 at the time and my Pokemon hype was still in full force. I didn't end up getting them on release, but lo and behold, on April of 2003, I received this very same Pokemon Sapphire cartridge. For Easter, of all things. Screw Easter egg hunting, I was all about discovering all the new Pokemon in the Hoenn region that day. And my god, did I play the crap out of this game. I have some very fond memories of playing this game alongside my childhood best friend who was also playing Sapphire. If I recall correctly, I nearly had a complete Hoenn Pokedex. I was only missing 2 Pokemon, Milotic and Latios, the elusive roaming legendary of Pokemon Ruby. Catching Latios on Sapphire was tedious enough for my 8-year-old self. You think I had the patience to do it again in a second game? God no. Unfortunately, that save file is long gone. I started a new file after using an action replay to get all 386 Pokemon at the time, and got bored and realized cheating codes, well, suck. But hey, the past is the past, and I'm ready to start some new memories with one of my favorite games in the Pokemon series. Without further ado, let me take you through the region of Hoenn. Let's be honest, if you've played a Pokemon game, you know the plot. Get your first Pokemon from a professor named after a tree, leave home to catch more Pokemon, get gym badges while simultaneously beating your rivals at every turn, single-handedly taking down an evil organization, take on the region's legendary Pokemon, all while training your team to conquer the Elite Four and the Champion in order to become the champion of the region yourself. And then there's some post-game stuff or whatever. This is practically the format for every Pokemon game up until Sun and Moon. But let's be honest. It didn't feel all that much different. But really, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In my opinion, there's not a bad Pokemon game in the series that's not a spin-off. But what do Ruby and Sapphire bring to the table? Well, they were the first Pokemon games on the Game Boy Advance and the first to introduce such features as natures, abilities, Pokemon contests, and secret bases, which I didn't really look at those last 2 while playing the game for this review since they're very outdated mechanics. You're better off picking up the remakes of these games, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire for the 3DS if you want to experience those features. These are just as good, if not better than the original games, so I highly recommend them. Before I dive into the plot and everything, I want to clarify that I'm reviewing the story based on playing Sapphire and selecting the male protagonist. If you want to experience the minor details I'm not looking at, you can always play these games for yourself. The game begins with us hopping out of a moving truck. Our family has just moved to the Hoenn region because our dad just got a job as a gym leader. This is the only Pokemon game where our father is actually present. We live next door to Professor Birch, a friend of our dad's who we end up saving from a level 2 Poochyena, or Zigzagoon if you're playing Emerald, but this review isn't about that game, so maybe some other time. In return, he lets us keep the Pokemon we used to fight off the weak little pests. Our choices are Trico, no, not that one, stop it, Torchic, which in my opinion is your best option, and Mudkip, which I went with for this playthrough because all memes aside, I think it has one of the best type combos when it evolves, being Water Ground. Say goodbye to that 4x weakness to electric moves. Afterwards, we meet our rival, May. After we battle her, Birch gives us our very own Pokédex and our Pokemon journey begins. We start by going to Petalburg City where we talk with our father Norman, who tells us to help this sickly boy Wally catch a Pokemon. This lucky little punk finds a Ralt on his first encounter and catches it. After that, we tread through the Petalburg woods and help this loser fight off this Team Aqua member. Team Aqua is the evil corporation we have to take down in this game. Remember, we're playing Sapphire. Try to keep up. We then go to Rustboro City where we challenge the gym leader Roxanne, who specializes in rock Pokemon. Clever. We defeat her and get the stone badge. Afterwards, we go to Rusturf Tunnel to rescue a Wingull from Team Aqua, who happens to be this old man's Pokemon. The old man's so grateful, he'll take you anywhere you need to go on his boat. We also recover the Devon goods from Team Aqua and go talk to the head of Devoncorp, Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone thanks us, gives us the Pokénav, and a letter to deliver to his son Steven, who's in Dewford Town. So taking up the old man whose name is Mr. Brownie's offer to take us anywhere we need to go on his boat, that's exactly where we're headed. In Dewford Town, we find the Granite Cave, where we can find Steven Stone and deliver the letter from his father. Afterwards, we take on the Dewford Gym, which is led by Brawly, who specializes in fighting-type Pokemon. After we defeat him and get the Knuckle Badge, Mr. Brownie will gladly take us to our next destination, Slateport City. Slateport is home to Captain Stern, who we're meant to deliver the recovered Devon goods to. After being told by someone at a shipyard that he's at the museum in town, we head there to find that Team Aqua is running amok. When we get to Captain Stern, we're ambushed by them. We're introduced to the leader of Team Aqua, Archie, who tells us to back off and then leaves, taking Team Aqua with him out of town. We deliver the goods to Stern and we're on our merry way to our next destination. Along the way, May challenges us to a battle, we defeat her, and we make it to Mauville City, where our next gym challenge awaits. Outside of the gym, we run into Wally again and he wants to battle. We humor him and effectively mop the floor with him. Then we're free to take on the gym. The leader of this gym is Watson, who specializes in electric type Pokemon. Again, very clever. After we defeat him, we get the Dynamo Badge. Afterwards, we can head west to Verdanturf Town, but there's not really much for us to do here. So in order to continue the story, we head north onto our next destination, Fall Arbor Town, where we meet Lynette, the creator of the Pokemon storage system here. Then we head to Meteor Falls just south of the town to find Team Aqua harassing this poor guy by the name of Professor Cosmo. They steal a meteorite from him because they want to revive an ancient Pokemon and flood the world, cause reasons. The rival team, Team Magma, intervenes and we meet the leader, Maxie, who's actually pretty cool to us in this game. We're told to head to Mount Chimney with Team Magma to stop Team Aqua from using the meteorite. So we head there and we battle Archie. After defeating him, Team Aqua clears out. After that, we're free to head to Lava Ridge Town, where we'll find our next gym. The leader here is Flannery, and she specializes in fire-type Pokemon. After we defeat her, we receive the Heat Badge. From here, we can go explore the desert thanks to the Go Goggles that May gives us after our gym battle, or we can head back to Petalburg to face off against our dad, Norman. Our old man specializes in normal-type Pokemon that will kick your ass if you're not prepared. Also, Norman. Normal. Did they even try with that? After we manage to give Pops a run for his money, we can travel to our next destination, Four Tree City. Along the way, we have to fight off Team Aqua, who have taken over the Weather Institute, and battle May again. When we get to Four Tree and head to the gym, we find that there's something invisible blocking our path. On the route east of town, we meet up with Steven Stone, who gives us the Devon Scope that reveals that the invisible things blocking our path are in fact Pokemon, and we can either catch them or faint them. Afterwards, we can challenge the gym. The leader here is Winona, who specializes in flying-type Pokemon. Defeating her earns us the Feather Badge. Only 2 more badges to go. Moving along, we make our way to Lily Cove City. After we've been there, we can go challenge Team Aqua at the top of Mount Pyre and confront Archie, who just stole the red orb from this elderly couple. They give you the blue orb to combat it, and we follow Team Aqua back to Slateport, where they've stolen a submarine from Captain Stern. They tell us they're headed to their secret hideout just outside of Lily Cove, so we know where we need to go. Flying back to Lily Cove, we find the hideout just east of the city. We go in with the mission of finding and stopping Archie. But unfortunately, after a battle with one of the team's admins, Archie takes off in the stolen submarine to an undersea cavern, which we cannot get to until we've earned our 7th gym badge, which is located in the next city over, Moss Deep City. So, we hop on our surfing Pokemon and head straight there. When we arrive, we can immediately challenge the gym that's run by twins Tate and Liza, who specialize in psychic Pokemon. After defeating them, we collect our Mind Badge and head to Steven's house on this island to get the HM for the move Dive, which was introduced in this generation. With this, we can get to the seafloor cavern where we battle Archie, who after after we defeat him, attempts to revive the legendary Pokemon Kyogre with the stolen red orb like an absolute dumbass. Kyogre awakens, but it doesn't bend to Archie's will like he wanted. Instead, it creates a storm all throughout Hoenn that threatens to flood the region, and it's up to us to put a stop to it. Traveling to Sootopolis City, we're brought to the Cave of Origin where Kyogre has retreated, and we use the blue orb to start a battle with it. After we capture or defeat this legendary beast, the rain stops. Team Aqua walks away defeated, and we're free to continue with our journey. Here in Sootopolis is the 8th and final gym, led by Wallace, who specializes in water-type Pokemon. After we defeat him, we receive our final badge, the Rain Badge. Like in every main series Pokemon game, after we've collected our 8 badges, we're free to challenge the Elite Four. After trudging through Victory Road, we run into Wally again, who challenges us to one final battle. And damn, this kid has stepped it up. He's gotten much more powerful, but unfortunately for him, I'm better. Sorry, buddy. Maybe someday. Now, we can take on the Elite Four. The Elite Four consists of Sydney, who specializes in Dark-type Pokemon, Phoebe, who specializes in Ghost-type Pokemon, Glacia, who specializes in Ice-type Pokemon, and Drake, who specializes in Dragon-type Pokemon. After we've defeated all 4 of them, we move on to the champion, who happens to be Steven Stone himself. Steven doesn't really have one set type that he specializes in, but all of his Pokemon pack a wallop. This is easily the most difficult battle in the game, but if you've made it this far, you should be able to pull through. After we've defeated Steven, we're now the new champion of the Hoenn region. Steven inducts us into the Hall of Fame, and the credits roll. But our journey isn't over just yet. After we've become the Hoenn region champion, we can hunt for the rest of the legendary Pokemon. In order to find the legendary Pokemon Rayquaza, we must travel east of Pacific Town and ascend the Sky Pillar. At the top, a level 70 Rayquaza awaits us. This is the most difficult Pokemon to catch in the game in my opinion, so I usually do this one first. We can also go west of Pacific to unlock the legendary Golem trio Regirock, Regice, and Registeel. These 3 are located in previously closed off caves that you can unlock by following the steps that are in Braille in a certain underwater cave west of Pacific. And last but not least, the exclusive Eon legendary of Sapphire, Latios, who is a roaming legendary. You never know where this Pokemon might show up, but there are ways to make the process easier. Now, this Pokemon will flee every battle until you catch it, so my advice is use the Master Ball in the first encounter. I don't usually like using the Master Ball, but I'll make an exception for this one. And that pretty much concludes our Pokemon journey, unless you want to get into the Battle Tower and the competitive scene, which I'm not even going to touch in this review. I really enjoy how this game plays. These were the first Pokemon games to implement the running shoes as a feature, and what a welcome feature this was. In the previous 2 generations, you had to get on a bicycle just to go a reasonable pace, and while that's an option in this game as well, it's not nearly as needed. Like I mentioned near the beginning, natures and abilities for Pokemon were introduced in this generation. While natures only really matter in the metagame, abilities were a unique game changer. If a Pokemon has the ability Static, for example, a Pokemon attacking it has the possibility of being paralyzed if the attack was physical. It just added some much needed depth to Pokemon battles. It didn't just feel like a game of rock, paper, scissors anymore. This next feature was in Generation 2, but I feel like I need to bring this up since it happened to one of my Pokemon during my playthrough. There's a 1 in 21,845 chance that a Pokemon can be infected with something called Pokerus. Now, this isn't a bad thing. All it really does is boost a Pokemon's stat growth while it levels up, and it can spread to another Pokemon if they're in the same party or PC box of an infected one. But holy shit, those odds. You're more likely to find a shiny Pokemon, which odds are 1 in 8,192 in this game. But lo and behold, I found no shinies during this playthrough and ended up with my entire team infected with Pokerus. Thanks, Shroomish. I owe you one. Pokerus can be cured by time, but since the battery in my cartridge has run dry long ago, my Pokemon are forever infected. What can I really say about Pokemon's controls that hasn't been said before? They work just fine. Like every Pokemon game, there's not much difference from the previous generation's controls other than the running function. Pokemon games, I think, are the epitome of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, where they keep very similar controls and mechanics and slightly tweak them with each installment. And while others may find it repetitive, I find it to be comforting and familiar. If I want a different experience, there are plenty of other RPGs out there. Looking back at this generation, I can definitely see its flaws, but quite frankly, I don't really care. The memories and nostalgia I have for this game keep it held in high regards for me. The Pokemon introduced in this generation are some of the best in my opinion. The soundtrack, while a bit heavy on trumpets, is fucking incredible. And the world is fun to explore. Hoenn is much bigger than Kanto and Johto, and yes, there's a lot of water, but it's a tropical region. It's fine. Are you done yet? Shit! God damn it! Where the hell did you come from? Yeah, I'm trying to wrap it up, so Why? Do you wanna add in your 2 cents? I'm just wondering why you're totally glossing over Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Emerald. Look, if I did that, this video would go on even longer than it already has. Maybe I'll make a part 2 someday, but I think I did pretty good reviewing the first 2 games of this generation. You didn't even talk about the differences in Ruby. This has been a review exclusively of Sapphire. Plus, you didn't even touch Pokemon contests, secret bases, and Pokeblocks. Well, they can play Ruby if they want to know the differences. Also, like I said, those mechanics are outdated and made redundant since the remakes, improved upon them tenfold. Seriously, I highly recommend Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire if you haven't played them and you have a 3DS. If you got 40 bucks laying around, pick one up. Fair enough. Hey, you didn't do too bad for not having me here. You weren't nearly as boring as I thought you were gonna be. Oh. Gee, thanks. Bitch, you know you love me. Now go ahead, do your outro so we can go get drunk and play Guitar Hero. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to help support the show and be credited as an executive producer at the end of every Matt Cave episode, consider checking out my Patreon by clicking on the screen or checking out the link in the description. Every little bit helps. Special thanks to my good friend Max Howard for becoming my first patron. I really appreciate it, man. I'll see you guys real soon with a new episode of the Matt Cave. Until then, have a good one.